Welcome, and namaste. So, today is going to be more about the nitty gritty of algorithm and frequencies, tuning in and tuning out, how readers do what they do, and how energy works the way it does. Okay. If you're interested, stay tuned, and if not, well, I do have other videos. Okay. Let's dive deep. Let's get to it. So, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. So, readers, um, actually, let me start with what I do first, okay? I read energy. It's very simple. You know how people can read people, mannerisms, patterns, behaviorisms, um, can understand human evolution and human behaviorism. I specialize in that area, okay? Now, I do have gifts, which if you know anything about spirituality, all the clairs and the clairsentience and the claircognizant and clairaudience and clairvoyance, um, the main gifts I talk about a lot on here is clairaudience, okay? Is because that's what a lot of people are familiar with: clairvoyance, clairaudience, um, psychics, visions, things of that nature, right? I specialize in all of that, but if I'm gonna summarize it all, it has to do what I do based on energy. Okay, so step one, reading cards, which is tarot, oracle. Um, I think that's the summarization of it all. That anyone can do that. I remember when I first started, a lot of people was amazed how I could read tarot and read oracle. And I always say that that doesn't require a skill. It all has to do with memorization. Okay? If you're good at that, you're good at anything in life, like literally anything. If you can memorize something, you are at the forefront of a lot of things in your life. Okay? Um, but my gifts, however, is beyond reading cards. Anyone can do, like I was saying, memorization is key to reading cards. Um, Anyone can say Empress this, King of Pentacles that, and money is coming in tomorrow, based on a card that says money is coming in tomorrow, because that's what the card is saying. Now, the skill of this reading energy and being an intuitive, a psychic, it goes beyond that. I've watched a few readers. I have my few favorites. All of them know how to read energy. Okay, whether they are into spiritualism, whether they are a psychic, a tarot reader, I can tell when they are not only have the gift of reading energy, but they also have, which should be the foundation. The gift comes first before anything that's tangible, anything that's based on tools, okay, such as cards and etc. etc. Um, when you can see them extend their knowledge and their gift surpassing what's on the card, that's when you know that they are gifted. That's when you know that they are really somebody that knows how to um, read energy. They're qualified to be called a psychic, um, an intuitive energy reader, and so forth. Okay. And those are the 5%. Okay. The 5% um, do the things that I do. Okay. And you usually levitate to the people that are in the same field as you. Now, within those 5%, you can, if you have the gift, because I'm not quite sure if everybody does have the gift of this specific within the 5%, if you know how to transmutate and alchemize. That meaning is, for an example, something bad is coming in, okay, or somebody is giving you negative energy. You know how to flip it to make it into something positive. You know how to flip it to make it of the light, okay? Away from it attacking you. Now, within those 5%, there are less people than that can alchemize and transmutate energy. I also do have the gifts of that, and in my waking life, I adapt that to what I do when it comes to my purpose and my mission in life. Now, for the rest of the peoples, okay, that does spirituality, that know how to read card or get messages. A lot of it, if you have noticed, a lot of it kind of runs in the same wave. For instance, you see a reader, uh, and they're talking about karmic fights and X this and X that and the most craziest absurd things. Let me be very frank and blunt. A lot of titles, thumbnails, sayings within people's videos are fabricated, okay? Um, and not to compare anything of this nature, but I know for me, I'm not doing it for the gram. I'm not doing it for the uprising of recognition in terms of fame and being, you know, all that and beyond in terms of famous, okay? Like, I'm not doing it for the sake of that, for the exterior. Like, what I do, it runs deeper than the flesh, okay? Um, so maybe some people might wondering or think that, oh, I should be more up there in terms of my success and what I do, because what I really do deliver, um, it goes beyond than just the cards, okay? Uh, I've noticed that a lot of messages that I do put out, if it's not fabricated, and when I say fabrication, at least for me, if I don't twist the titles, if I don't say anything based on shock value or something that's very absurd, the views and numbers will not be up there in peak, which is sad, but that's the reality of things. Um, a lot of people do that to get recognition. Um, whether in spirituality or not. One specific reader, not reader per se, um, let me just go outside spirituality for a bit. So I do have my regular YouTube, and I kind of noticed this, but I didn't take much heed to this, what I'm talking about right now, until the specific YouTuber was talking. He does video content when it comes to films and commentary. Um, and he always says that a lot of, like, when people do a disclaimer and whatnot, and they'll say that, well, this is for me, and this is serious, and this is not for the YouTube or for the gram, the whole saying. Usually they're sincere, and usually it's fabricated. But I first came across this fabrication when he was talking about it. He says that he usually trusts his titles, so quote unquote YouTube will know that this video is wanted, so it goes up in the algorithm of See Me, right? Now I thought about this for a few seconds, and I tried it. There are a few videos title wise where I've seen on my own channel where I just feel like, this feels like a sellout thing to do. However, it is an algorithm, and it is a part of the matrix and the 3D situation that we're all in. Everything that's based on the matrix and things that are not of the soul essence, okay, this earthly realm is fabrication of some sorts, okay? There's patterns, there repetition. Think of it as how there's so many reboots and number twos and threes in terms of films, and it's the same formula basically, right? Because nothing new seems to be of value anymore. It has to be repetitive. It has to be non-original, which is sad, but it's the reality of things. So apply this to what I'm trying to say here with the algorithm and the frequencies here. Um, those that know how to, we're gonna go back to the spiritualism and tarot cards now. Those that know how to like read cards. I think I messed up the numbers. The people that knows how to transmute and alchemize energy is less than 1%. Okay, sorry for the fumbling of the numbers because I feel like this is like important here. And those that knows how to have the same gifts as reading energy. Though again, it's nothing wrong with reading. It's not about right or wrong, okay? But there is a level to reading cards and picking up an energy. There is a way of, because what I've noticed again as a pattern as well. Um, when I watch a few readers that are not my favorites, okay, um, they tend to pick up on even some of my favorites. I have to be honest. They tend to pick up on what's on a global scale and not very, and there it's not specific. Okay, some of them don't even mention take what resonates and just kind of go with it because why not? Um, and that's their own prerogative, right? But I find it so funny how a lot of it, even though it could be feature based and it's energy all the same, even if it's not specific, it tends to be what's beyond the viewer that's watching. The energy tends to be tuned in to beyond the person that's watching, and it's easier for the collective though to pick up on what they feel will resonate. I remember this also came to my attention because I think I was doing this at some point in the beginning. In the beginning, even though I have the gifts that I do have, I am not exempt from this example. I remember in the beginning when I was doing YouTube spiritually, right? And it might not have been the most outrageous title or twisted because I didn't know not much about this until later on. Um, and I will explain during the timeline when I got this epiphany, right, about this twisting of titles and whatnot. Um, one of my main like divine masculines videos when that was like the trend, it still is. Um, I was talking about a situation that divine masculines and their divine counterparts was going through, and I got a few comments that was resonating, and a few comments that actually not a few, one comment that was opposed to my message here, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. But they also brought me to this epiphany, this enlightenment, where uh, I kind of got more understanding later on. Um, and this is again why I always say take what resonates in my videos. And the commentator was like, "There's all this. Why is everybody, and you saying the same message? Everything is always repetitive. It's always the same thing about how they're not ready and they need to work on themselves. Like, why is it always the same song?" And I wasn't offended by it or taken it back because I get it. Because for a while, when I used to watch readings myself, it was always the same song. But when you kind of in the situation, you really don't look beyond that. Okay. And I'm really thankful for her commentating this. She even got a few haters responding back. Um, but she shouldn't have, okay? Because it leads up to this moment. I remember. Oh well, sorry. Now we're gonna go back to um, one of my most viewed videos. The title in itself was a new title that wasn't in the algorithm. You know, the whole it wasn't the algorithm of choices to pick, though I create all my titles based on what I've been given from the divine and my spirit team. And this is how I know how things are fabricated more so in the algorithm of YouTube. Okay, it was something of this nature where this man is gang stalking you, and so on and so on. It's like one of my most viewed videos, and I haven't really gotten up in views since that video. Now, looking back at that specific reading, I personally did not understand why it got up in views. Because, yes, I'm very picky. I'm very calculated with how things are supposed to look. I'm very hard on myself. Okay. Um, the first thing I mentioned was me having speech impedances and whatnot, and there was just so many uh, downfalls in the specific videos. And I've had moments like that from time to time. And the setup wasn't 10/10. Like what it is then is not what it is now. So I didn't understand how that specific video could even go up in views like that. And I realized I listened to the message and the message was accurate. Again, I myself could find faults, and it's the little things like pronunciation and whatnot. But at the end of the day, spirit is like if I reach out to somebody, who cares how it sounds? At least somebody is giving the encouragement and the guidance they need. Now, I was thinking based on a 3D mentality and not spiritual at the time, because if I get critical, that is from my ego. But we're going to leave that aside. I, to my surprise, wanted to delete that. And my spirit team was like, no, why? People actually resonated, and the people that was actually tuning in. But again, my ego came into the clash of it's not up to standards, okay? And I realized that I just have to, number one, if I want to go up an algorithm, follow the streams of that nature, but I know based on how my soul feels, if it's not according to my heart space, I will feel some type of way. There are a few videos, again, like I mentioned before, I mentioned that some of the titles have been fabricated for the sake of YouTube algorithm, though the message is still the same. If it's not directly from the divine, I will feel some type of way in my spirit, in my soul. Like I'm not gonna lie. So with that being said, it is very important, like I mentioned in that video, that I have insignificant amount of views, that you have to tune into it for a reader or a messenger to get your energy specific, okay? Um, and you do this through subscribing or watching their content. Um, and this, again, might sound very self promoting, right? But it is a system where it's like if you don't tune in, you will not get the answer you seek, and it will come out as for everybody else. And you just resonated with something that could not possibly be yours, okay? Um, I'm aware of about how things operate mentally. So when I say things of the nature like if you see a spirit number or a spirit animal, make sure you see it multiple times, okay, for the sake of your mental health. A lot of people don't advise on that, okay? Just run with it, run with the message, and all of a sudden you'll be sitting there pondering like, what the heck did this mean? One example is how you know how people do like who's much more flame, and they hear something and it sounds so love and light, and they run with it, and you could be waiting for 10 to 20 years. I know people like this, but the question mark is there. Why is there a question mark on something that your heart wanted so much? It's because that season wasn't for you. And it's a shame how people don't really go in to care for the collective like they should, because they don't. And they do it because of the sake of the algorithm. It's sad, but that is the case, okay? Um and there are a lot of things that operates in terms of like the algorithm, not only online on YouTube, but since we're here, this is why I'm going so much in depth. A lot of things could be and are twisted algorithm wise on our planet, okay? Think of it as marketing, how things are operated and functioning on certain areas on this planet, and things are not functioning the same way on this planet, okay? Um, I know this is a lot, but I just wanted to give a heads up on what's real, okay, and not illusion. When it comes to me, know that I am a reader first in terms of energy, a card reader third, okay? Um, and you will notice it based on the fact if I don't do readings based on cards, um, and even if I do, you would know where I'm coming from. I remember there was a season in my life where I was doing readings for free. Now, in my native language, I have to formulate it to um, tarot and astrology, because in my native language, they're not familiar with spiritualism. They're not familiar with tapping into energy, um, because their mindset is not open to that as of yet. Okay. Certain parts of the planet is open to certain parts of information. Okay. Um, and there are a few readers I read for. And when I say readers that I read for, is tarot readers. When you read tarot, like I said, anyone can pick up and say Empress this and the Hierophant that. Okay? But when you tapping into energy and see things beyond the cards, you know who's legit and not. I remember I said something as an advice to this specific reader, and it was of them taking heed of their life and not going at it in the perspective of love and light, okay? Um, and love and light is basically all the fluffy and namaste energy that people love to tune into, because who wants to tune into something that's negative, right? Who wants to watch that and listen to that? But the truth of the matter, shit happens in our life, okay? And we can prevent it or transmute it for our highest and best good. But no, everybody wants to listen to solid advice or even criticism, okay? Or tough love if you like. But remember this reader, a tarot reader, she was like, when she got the criticism, well, that tough love that I gave her, okay, she was like, all of a sudden she shifted and she said that, well, I know this. I read tarot too. And I thought it was so funny because in my head I was like, if you really do read the way I do, and you think I base it on tarot, even if I have the cards around you, how is it that you're seeking my advice? How is it that you're seeking my help? If you know what I know and you're upset what I know, why are you coming to me? Like, make it make sense, right? So this is what I'm trying to say here. For the readers that are card readers, stay in your lane. For those that are in the same vibration as me, you know what it is, right? And for those that are just tuning in to the 1%, you do have the gifts, but you may not have the gift of transmutation or alchemization. You know, it's all about meditation, connection, and diligence. Okay. Um, I think that's pretty much it. I will say though, for those that likes to do copy paste, aka stealing things from other people, um, and people do this whether they're in the spiritual community or not. Um, take people's projects spiritually though, because this is where we're at in terms of my own content. That would be dealt with in spiritual courts. Okay, there's a spiritual system, like there's the physical system, and that will be dealt with accordingly. Even if we're tapping in and seeing what I see and taking what I take spiritually or physically, because I've seen some few individuals doing this, um, I know who will deal with it accordingly. So I might just leave that to the people or person that have done that in the past, recent past. I will not speak on any names, but yeah, that is pretty much it. Again, make sure that you tune in to the person that wants that you want them to give you a specific type of insight, okay? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Good luck in your journey as always, and thank you for stopping by.